News Weekend Edition.
Good morning, I'm Taylor Upchurch. Today is Saturday, April 6th. 26-year-old Jordan Tackett of Floyd County went missing February 20th. Thursday afternoon, police found his body buried in the yard of another Floyd County man, Wesley Martin. Martin has been arrested and charged with Tackett's murder. Police say Jordan Tackett's body was found in this shallow grave about 3 feet deep and only about 10 to 12 feet away from Wesley Martin's home. Investigators would not give much information as to how they believe Martin killed Tackett or why. They say a search warrant at the home led them to significant evidence.
That was not the only evidence gathered there at the scene. There's substantially more evidence that will support the murder charge besides just the discovery of the body in his yard.
Wesley Martin is being held on a $2 million bond. He's also charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and defacing a firearm. We will have a preliminary hearing on April 15th in Floyd County District Court. And now let's check in with meteorologist Paige Noel for a look at your forecast this morning. Paige, it was really warm out there today, and I'm telling you, those birds make it sound like spring.
Oh, it's already feeling like spring, maybe even summer for some with those warm temperatures, as we're going to see a little bit later today and into tomorrow as well. Well, seeing those mostly cloudy skies this morning, which is why we were so warm throughout those overnight hours, acting as a thermal blanket, showing much of the same story on satellite and radar. But those clouds will get out of here by the time we get into the rest of your Saturday. Clean sweep as we're looking into pinpoint Doppler, a little bit different than this time yesterday morning, and we're going to see that continue throughout the day, but a little bit different as we head into tomorrow. Temperatures into those low to mid 50s, so comfortable temperatures, so definitely just need maybe the light jacket this morning, but you'll be able to shut it off pretty quickly. Promised sunshine does return today with a few clouds in the sky. We do have a very warm weekend ahead, very above average temperatures, and those showers and storms of course return as we head into your Sunday. I'll have more on that in just a little bit. Taylor.
Thank you, Paige. Almost a year later, the man accused of shooting Mike Jones in Johnson County is still waiting for trial. Jones' family spoke to WYMT's Lauren McCord about watching Walter Lee Curtis walk out of the courtroom and not behind bars.
Mike Jones' family says there's not many words to describe how it feels to lose a loved one.
It makes me feel distraught.
Especially when that someone is your own brother.
It makes me feel empty inside.
In August 2018, a grand jury indicted Walter Lee Curtis on a manslaughter charge. He is the one accused of killing Jones.
My brother can't speak for himself, of course, since his life was taken.
Jones' sister, Sherry Caudle, says he was the type of guy that instantly became your friend.
He loved to live life. He had a lot of friends.
For more than 20 years, he took care of his sickly father.
That's basically his life thing, was taking care of my dad. I don't know what my dad would have done without him.
And now, since Jones is gone, all she wants is answers to why the man who allegedly shot her brother is not behind bars.
I don't feel like anybody should take somebody else's life.
Curtis is currently on house arrest.
Seeing him today did not bother me.
And on Friday, he stood before the judge.
But seeing him walk out of the court, not being locked up, not being behind bars for this, really bothers me.
Receiving no change to his current status besides his next court date. His sister says she is left broken and confused.
I want justice for my brother.
But will remain fighting for her brother. In Johnson County, Lauren McCourt, WYMT Mountain News.
A pretrial hearing is set for May 3rd at 11 a.m. And a single vehicle crash along Highway 25 East in Bell County leaves a 33-year-old from Pineville dead. WYMT's Hannah Reynolds has the latest.
Police say around 8:45 Friday morning, they responded to a call about a man who crashed off US 25 just before Pineville city limits.
All indications he ran off the roadway, left the roadway southbound. He impacted a rock wall,
causing the car to flip several times.
At which point the driver was ejected.
Police say they arrived within minutes of the call.
And he was alive at the scene when we arrived.
And they say once they identified who Hatfield was and the extent of his injuries, they sent him for treatment.
And later died at the hospital in Pineville.
Pingleton says he hated having to call Hatfield's family. He says even after 28 years of law enforcement, having to be the one to tell families about their loved one's death has never gotten easier.
If you have half a heart and don't know the people, they're still not easy. It's just tough. It's just tough.
Hatfield was sent to the Kentucky State Medical Examiner's office, where an autopsy will be performed Saturday morning. In Bell County, Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
The Bell County coroner's investigation is pending while waiting on the autopsy report. And proceeds from Power Up the Pantry in Perry and Floyd counties now goes to replenish the God's Pantry Food Bank. Its volunteers serve 7 eastern Kentucky counties. Yesterday, they sat up in the parking lot of the Big Sandy Community and Technical College. Donors brought by non-perishable food items as well as hygiene products and, of course, monetary donations. Sherry Zilka with Big Sandy Community and Technical College says giving money could have a greater impact.
We can use that to purchase large quantities at a reasonable price, less than you would get if you went to the store and bought them on your own. So we're very thankful, we're very grateful for the contributions of these organizations.
Kentucky Power donated a $5,000 check to God's Pantry Food Bank. Other organizations also donated money, and Anthem donated $10,000 and a bus. Volunteers have collected more than 1,000 pounds of food, and nearly 7.5 tons of food was donated to hungry Kentuckians. It's a disturbing story out of central Kentucky. Police say a 35-year-old man got into a relationship with a high school teacher in order to have sex with a student at the school. Now officers say the teacher knew about inappropriate messages but didn't report it. Caitlin Sutner explains.
We're always going to try to do what's best for our kids. If we can't do that, we don't need to be in this business.
Tasked with educating and protecting. Her title of teacher is no longer. Sherry Murphy is on house arrest. Torstensen, apparently her boyfriend, is behind bars. It's a bizarre situation.
We conducted our investigation, and then I'd set up a meeting with her to speak with her. And after we had spoke for several minutes, she decided that she would resign her position.
Murphy faces unlawful transaction with a minor, tampering with physical evidence, and failure to report charges. Torstensen's charges are similar. The story from police goes like this. Torstensen reaches out to an underage girl on Facebook Messenger back in 2018 to have sex. When that didn't work, troopers say he then dated Murphy to get in contact with the girl. Troopers say both Torstensen and Murphy tried to cover up what happened.
It wasn't all too long ago. We were here in Estill County as a soccer coach at the high school was arrested. He was accused of having sex with a student.
We've had too many of these situations over the last little bit.
Superintendent Jeff Saylor now calling on the district and the community to speak up.
The sad part about it is that when something like this occurs, or something like this is occurring, we don't know if somebody doesn't report it.
In Estill County, Caitlin Sentner, WKYT.
Parents we talked to didn't want to go on camera but say they're disturbed by this situation. Murphy is set to face a judge later this month. And Nicholas Cruz faced a judge today. He's accused of killing 17 people at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida last year. His attorneys tried to convince the judge to excuse Cruz from more pretrial hearings. They say his presence draws television coverage that could emotionally damage survivors of the shooting. The motion was ultimately disregarded. Cruz's attorneys have said he would plead guilty in exchange for a life sentence. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. And the search for a California woman kidnapped on an African safari earlier this week has intensified. Security teams in Uganda expanded their search beyond the wildlife park where Kimberly Sue Endicott and a local driver were taken at gunpoint Tuesday night. The gunman used Endicott's cell phone to demand a $500,000 ransom. Authorities tell CBS News hard negotiations are taking place and the 56-year-old has been on the phone at least once a day to prove she's alive. Californian Bill Toon was also touring the park at the time.
Very well could have been us. And it's a bit shocking. We've been working in Uganda for quite a long time, as well as in Kenya, and we've come to be very comfortable here.
America's official policy is not to pay hostage takers. U.S. officials say it's unclear who kidnapped Endicott, but the fear is her captors will sell her to a terrorist group. Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a standoff in Georgia leads to 2 officers being shot and the deaths of a 16-year-old boy and a pregnant woman. Details on the way. And later, we'll check in with Jason Lindsay to see what he's working on for us in this morning's Hooked on Science segment.
And above average temperatures continue this weekend with storms on your Sunday. We'll break down that full forecast next.